Folks, welcome to another episode of the Snowy's Camping Show. Joined again by myself, Ben, and my colleague Lauren. How you going?
Not too bad.
It's good. It's been a while since we've sat in these seats. We've had people away. You're off on personal reasons for a while, and things have been busy. We've got some projects going on, but squeezing in a few quick episodes this morning. A bit of a boring topic today, but before we jump into it, you can subscribe to our channel via YouTube, your favourite podcast app, and you can join in on the conversation at the Snowy's Camping Banter Facebook group, where we've got over 6,000 people in there. I looked the other day, nearly,
it's crazy.
7. So lots of people talking about stuff like what we're talking about now. So
yeah, as with all groups, we have 6,000 people, but maybe like 20 regular contributors, which is cool.
Yeah. And we're semi-regular. We try to get in there as much as we can. So I've been in there a couple of times this week. But anyway, today, in case you haven't noticed, if you're watching and not just listening, you will have noticed that the desk in front of us is full of pumps. So not a really exciting topic, but we do get some common questions around which pump do I use? Do I need a pump? What adapter do I need? All those sort of things. So we thought we'll do a bit of a brief over our pump range and cover off on a few of those commonly asked questions. Yeah,
you don't need to be watching episodes. Like if you're someone who listens in the car or on the train to work or something like that, as always, you can just listen. But if there's anything specific you need to know, then we'll have the links to that in our show notes. Otherwise, jump on YouTube or Spotify, where the video recording is as well now. And you can just jump to whatever you need reference to.
Yeah. So we've kind of got some specific brands and stuff here at the moment, but obviously that changes over time. So if you're watching this episode in 2 or 3 years, there's probably similar things on the market. There's probably new things on the market by then as well. But we'll refer to some specific pumps here. But there's generally like some of these, like these red quick pumps that we've got in front of us have been around for ages and will probably be around for a long time to come yet. But I thought we'd break it down by starting with the simple and then go through to kind of the more complex, because you can spend anywhere from about $20 right up to over $200 for the pumps you've got in front of us here. Now, the simple ones, I had a bit of a look, and we used to have some really, really basic like bellows ones. You remember the bellows wedge type pump that you put on the ground and then you just use your foot to pump it? And it goes to, we used to have that. I don't know when it disappeared. It's not in our range anymore. I guess people.
I think everyone's had one of those at some point.
Yeah. I think
used to have them to pump up pool toys.
Well, you can get some of the 12-volt options now that are really affordable. So I think people kind of think, well, if I can plug it into my cigarette lighter, I don't have to exert any energy to pump up my mat.
Yeah,
now,
or like recharge it. It's,
Yeah.
And especially like with the like progression in technology and things, some pumps are so light and small, whereas back in the day a battery pump would have been a bit heavier. Like mobile phones, they progress.
They do. Now, I should mention too that we'll probably sort of talk about these from an airbed, inflatable mattress type perspective to start with, because with the air tents coming into the market, you can inflate your whole campsite now.
Yeah.
A few things to consider around what you need, because you can't just use any pump to pump up a tent, and you've got to be careful about using a tent pump for a mat, but we'll cover on that later. Probably more to the more simple options, and I've got, this is a deluxe simple, which is Zempire's dual action pump here. So this is like a stand-up bike pump, I suppose. You pull it up one way, it pumps out on both the up and the down motion. The cheaper versions just pump on the down motion. There's a tube that would be attached to this that would attach to and this is actually an air tent pump, this one here. So the adapter that comes with Zempire's kit when you buy it has a little pressure valve on there, and then a hose that you attach to your airbed or your tent or whatever, and you pump it up till it reaches that pressure. But that's another simple pump, a hand operated one. If you're pumping up a double high queen airbed, you're probably puffing a little bit by the time you've pumped it up with one of those guys. It's a little bit of effort, a little bit of a workout, and you camp trip. Same with pumping up the tents, but they're reliable, simple, affordable. I don't actually know if you can get that one individually. They come with certain tents and that sort of thing, but we don't actually have that style of pump available individually, I should specify anymore.
We used to.
I'll highlight this with our purchasing manager, because it could just be something that's fallen off, and we've not realised we haven't filled that sort of space.
Yeah,
but when you buy an air tent nowadays, Air Gazebo, like one of the Quest or the Zempire ones, they almost all come with that type of pump, and you can upgrade it to one of the sort of 12 or 240 volt ones that we'll talk about shortly.
Yeah.
So they are the most common sort of hand pumps, the bellows and the upright bike style pump, like the deluxe bike style pump. You can get simpler ones, and our store, we're in the Keswick store. Downstairs is a mess at the moment because they're moving the counter.
Yeah.
And I went down and grabbed this stuff, and I'm trying to find everything that I knew was on display, and it's just in piles as they move stuff around. So I couldn't find half of the stuff that I wanted to have this episode. But if we go to the really simple, lightweight option, and I actually use this in my camp setup, it sits in my swag with where my inflatable mat's rolled up, and I use this to top the mat up.
Yeah.
And it's called the Cedar Summit Airstream Pump Sack.
Yeah.
And it's basically a dry bag. It's got a roll top on it, but on the other end, it's got something very similar. This is Xped's mini pump, but that I'm holding up here at the moment. And this has just got an end on it with a rubbery sort of attachment that pushes into the valve on the mat. And then the Airstream pump sack is made of really light material. So you just kind of puff it open, blow some air into it, seal it, and then you push the air down.
Like a dry bag with a nozzle on the end.
And you just push it in there. And it takes about 2 or 3 of those to top up my 10 centimeter mat inside my swag.
Zempire used to have a, and they don't make it anymore, but it's cool and I still see them around somewhere. They used to make the Airstream pump sack, but it was a bit smaller. And it had like a thin, polyethylene spine that was wrapped around in a coil on the bag.
Oh, that was Cedar Summits?
Yeah, Cedar Summits. Yeah. I can't remember what it was called though, but it was really cool because it was like a dry sack, but it was sort of accordion. Yeah. And you could connect that to your mat and like lock in the air and sort of just accordion pump your mat. It was pretty funny, but they don't make that anymore. I don't know why it was cool, a bit smaller, but they're good. I guess the Airstream sack is so much bigger, so you're pushing a larger volume of air. 15 litres of air
into it,
Yeah.
So those, and this, the Xped mini pump that I've got in front of me here is another example, similar example of that, where you push this on the mat and then it's got a little hole in the top here and a heap of foam that kind of makes it expand. When you seal this hole, pump it down, it pushes a bit of air in. Now,
it's like, I always think whoopee cushion.
It is a bit like a whoopee cushion.
It's essentially
like
a whoopee cushion, inflated whoopee cushion, and it draws air into the middle of it. Yeah, it's very cool.
Now, this comes with most Xped mats, the big ones, as a top-up mat. Very much a top-up pump. If you store your mat deflated, deflated, like squashed up, and then you unroll it and you don't allow that foam to expand and you want to pump the whole mat up with one of these,
it will take
it's going to
while.
take ages.
Yeah.
So this really is something that you leave your mat to expand all the way and then you just put a bit of air into it. Now, I've got one of these and I replaced it with the Cedar Summit Airstream because when we're trying to set up quickly, I could pump so much air into it so much quicker with the Cedar Summit Airstream pump. So
definitely.
Listen, have a look on our website. It's an orange bag with a valve on it. Packs up like good for hiking.
I've done this with my little Xped mini pump. I've done it on the floor with my foot as well.
Oh, yes.
Like if you can't be bothered sitting there and using your hands, you can just stand there and like yell at your kids or other people when you're setting up and do it with your foot.
Yeah, but you're probably pumping 300 to 400.
What's that, like 500 mils of water?
Mils of water. Yeah, I don't know how to translate that from water to air.
We're campers, not scientists.
It's not much. But they are the really simple sort of fail-safe options.
It's probably also worth noting that those simple fail-safe options are for pumping only.
Yes.
They only inflate. Like there's no way that with anything manual that you can have an assisted deflation.
Good for hiking mats too, the smaller, thinner mats. These are really good. And a lot of the Cedar Summits mats, for example, a lot of them now come with
the storage sack
that doubles up as the pump anyway. So
like my hiking mat, I reckon 1.5 of those is my perfect density.
Yeah. I've got a 12-volt pump in my kit and I actually just use the Airstream one because we throw everything in the tent and someone goes in there without their shoes on, sets everything up and they just use that and pump it up. It's really simple.
I think the other benefit to it is that it's one less thing you have to worry about. You don't have to worry about finding the pump and then charging the pump and making sure that it's charged and you know it's just works.
Yep. Now, if you want to step up from that and you also want a deflate option, then I'm sort of going up, I suppose, in price a little bit here in a way.
Price and technology,
yeah. it's 12 or two 40-volt options. Now, the most common option, we actually don't have it anymore. There used to be like probably about $12 options that were quite similar to this Austral one that we've got here, but this is a bit of an updated model, sort of based on the back of Zempire's Monster Pump, which came out. This is a rechargeable option, though. We'll get onto that shortly. This has got a 12-volt plug in it. So you need to have either your mat close to your vehicle or your vehicle close to your tent or whatever. I don't know what the length of that cord is, but it's probably only about 1.2 meters maybe.
Or you could have a little Rover 40.
Or if you've got a power pack
a
that you move around.
One, yeah.
Yep. So you plug this in. It's got an on button on the top end. You've got an inflate on the one side here and then a deflate on the top here. These are a little bit quicker, less effort. They're quite noisy. So you plug it in. People will know all around the campsite that you're pumping up your mat, but less effort than the handheld ones.
Yeah.
Now, these come with various adapters. Most commonly, the ones that I'm holding up here at the moment are a Boston valve type adapter and this kind of long skinny one, which is for pool toys and that sort of thing.
Yeah, like the little classic, I don't even know what you call that valve.
The one that
you sort of pull out with your teeth and you blow up,
you
and you've got to squeeze it a little bit as you're blowing it up.
Yeah, I call it.
What is that valve?
I'm going to call it the annoying valve, because if it's not a good one, then you're just getting air into it. You got to squeeze so that little valve inside opens up enough to get.
Do you remember? I'm totally getting sidetracked here as I do, but do you remember when someone? I feel like I remember the point in time where those valves started to be manufactured with the ability to push them in, so they were recessed.
Oh yeah.
Like before that, they would stick out all the time, and you'd like scratch your legs on them in like pool rings and stuff. And then you started to be able to push them in, and that was like, whoa.
Yeah. so it didn't stick out or get caught or accidentally like undo. Get caught and
exactly
undo and go flat.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, these pumps, there's this adapter here as well. They come with various adapters. Well, I'm going to go into what valves these fit shortly, because we'll cover off on all of that.
Yeah.
And the other option to that is to the 12 or 240-volt ones is the common quick pump range, which has been around for ages. This guy here that we've got out of the box has got a 240-volt cable on it. So if you're in caravan parks and the likes, these are really handy.
And they're super reliable.
They're noisy once again, but fast and efficient. They come with various adapters. Once again, I reckon these come with about.
These are pretty powerful.
Actually, I think they come with
like the common quick pump. They're pretty powerful.
There's two adapters there, so similar to what the other one is.
The little pool toy one, and
so this fits your Boston valve. Once again, we'll go into that shortly. Inflate out the end here, so your piston sort of gun style shoots air out the end. When you want to deflate, these fit on the side here, and you can suck the air back out again. So this is where the air comes into the pump.
It's probably worth noting that because I have had the question before, and not everybody sort of realizes, but your deflate and your inflate functionality, they're not separate functions. So inside, you've just got this little air vacuum, or not vacuum, but this little air pump.
It's just a fan
it's just a fan. It draws air in one side and pushes it out the other. And so you utilize the inflation by the outside, and then pumps that have an attachment that fit on the air intake. You connect on that, and then that just doubles as a deflate. So it's exactly the same mechanism. It's just what the push and the pull outlet is that you're taking advantage of.
Yeah. So you can basically get that thing there with you can see this is a 240-volt plug on the end here.
Yeah.
You can get the same thing, essentially the same thing with the cigarette plug like we've got in the Austral one here. So Austral's a slightly more compact option. I guess the consideration there is if it's a bigger unit, it's probably going to be a more powerful pump.
Yeah, like the common quick pump comes in multiple models. It's got a 12/24-volt rechargeable, so there's no cable attached. You've got the 12-volt cigarette cable option, or the 24-volt cigarette. I meant 24-volt, 240-volt. Bloody hell, my brain is melting. 240-volt mains power.
Yeah.
So there's three different options there.
Yep.
Mixed reviews on the rechargeable in terms of its lifespan, I feel like, but they're very powerful pumps. Like they'll make short work of a mat in literally seconds.
Yeah, I made note of that a little bit later with considerations around when you might want rechargeable and maybe what's the best purchase here. And lifespan is one of those considerations with a rechargeable pump because of the battery maintenance. So with these guys here, you're probably, I didn't look at prices, sorry, but you're talking probably 40 to $70 or something maybe in this 12 to 40 volt range. They're an affordable, easy to use option. So if you're in caravan parks all the time, or you've always got your vehicle or power pack nearby, then they're a great option. Slightly more bulky than some though. Went on to rechargeable, as you mentioned, or we touched on the styler pump, I suppose, because this Austrail one here also comes as a rechargeable one in the Zempire Monster pump here. Same sort of configuration. This guy comes in a neat little carry case as well. It's got an extra adapter. It's got this silicon sort of adapter in there as well to try and fit more valves.
Yep.
Now this one, they actually say it gives a PSI, something I think that this inflates to. Yeah, it goes to 0.7 PSI max pressure. We're not going into all the details here, but this has got like 450 litres per minute, so that they all have a different flow rate. But this is quite a good pump, one of the newest ones, and Austrail built their 12-volt pump off the back of this, I'm pretty sure. This is the first one to come out. But Zempire made this to suit because they got their monster beds now. They're big sort of inflatable beds with a 10 centimetre self-inflating mat on top, and that's what these are for. And these have become quite popular pumps as well.
Yeah.
And they've got one of the adapters for the newer valves in there as well. Once again, we'll cover off on that shortly. This has a lithium-ion battery inside of it. The common quick pump is a bit of a heavier unit, I reckon, because it's got an older sealed lead acid battery inside, SLA battery. Now, that's a consideration with rechargeable, is that it's going to require maintenance. So if you're not using it all the time, the SLA battery in the common rechargeable one is probably going to die quicker because has to have charge and recharge cycles. You can't store it flat for a long time.
Yeah.
Not so much of an issue with the lithium ion, but it's still good to have a bit of battery maintenance and charge it every now and then.
It's probably, sorry, I don't know if it's okay for me to jump in here, but it's probably okay because I just wanted to touch a bit on PSI because
do that.
The Monster pump, for example, says it's capable of 0.7 PSI, right? On average, a self-inflating mat would be around about 0.5 PSI. I think the Monster pump 0.7 PSI is because that's designed to go with the Zempire Monster beds that have that fully air cell base to it that's designed to be pumped up rock hard. There are other things on the market like the Quest sofas that come in the single, 2-seater and 3-seater versions now. They're also inflatable with a Boston valve, but their maximum is 1 PSI. So when you're looking at a pump that will do self-inflating mats and couches, they're very different. And I know you touched on it earlier. They're very different to something like a tent that requires 7 to 9 PSI. Potentially some of them are around 10 to 12 PSI as well. So it's a totally separate ball game. Same also with inflatable SUPs, right? We get so many questions from people about like, oh, I just want one pump to do all of my inflatable needs. And it's like you probably could, but you just have to be really mindful because a pump that will be capable of pumping up an air tent or an air swag or an inflatable SUP obviously is designed to have significantly higher PSI capabilities. So then if you're then going to plug that into your self-inflating mattress, for example, to give it a bit of extra air, chances are you're going to, unless you are not like super precise or you can't physically set your compressor to 0.5 PSI, you're going to blow the seams and you're going to destroy the bonding, which is where the glue from the fabric to the mat. So realistically, you can't get one to do the other. So that's potentially something that you consider when you're looking at purchasing a pump is what inflatable gear you've got across your whole setup. And if you do have to carry or want to carry something like, like the Zempire tent pumps, right, which are the manual upright bike pumps. God, I'm having a corker. You could obviously use them on a mattress or your Quest couch or whatever because it's literally manual, the whole process, right?
You're checking it as you go.
And you're checking it as you go and you can only pump it as much as you physically move it. But if you're using an air compressor, it has to be able to be set at 0.5 PSI. And if it can't be, don't risk it.
I mean, if you're talking 0.5 to 0.7, there's probably not much in it. But if you're talking your pump set at 7 PSI and mat needs to be 0.5 to 0.7, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You gotta
like
stop
even
it before
potentially 1 PSI could be too much for an Xped mat or a CSUM mat, you know, like it's just, you can't, once the bonding's gone or once the weld seals around the edge of your mat are split, that's it, game over.
Yeah.
So it's not worth the risk. So in that case, if you are carrying an air compressor and it's big and a chunky, then maybe you don't want to get a big chunky heavy pump for your mattresses or your Quest Air sofa.
Yeah.
So then you'd be looking at, you know what I mean? Like, so just think about the whole system that you've got going on.
When you talk about the manual process, we say that because the monster pump, you can just attach to the monster bed and just leave it hanging there while it pumps it up, and then you walk away and the pump will keep running, but it won't go more than what the mat can handle.
Yeah.
The Coleman pumps, they don't put a PSI on it, but I don't think they would get that high. They're not designed to just keep pumping that high. They'll just start screaming. But
I reckon, I don't know if there's much of a limitation. Like I reckon if I plugged this into a Coleman quick bed, which is just one of those air balloon beds, and left it would pop.
You reckon?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. All right. So
I even want to test it out because it would happen.
But for the most part with these ones, you're standing there holding it anyway.
Yeah.
And if it's, you'll know when it's, you'll feel it and go, that's tight enough.
More often than not, you couldn't sleep on something that was at the point where it was breaking because it would just be like sleeping on a rock.
Yeah. Yep. So rechargeable, full-size rechargeable, you charge them at home or charge it while you're driving, and then you can, the versatility of those is you can take it out of your car and just walk around the campsite and pump up whatever you want to pump up.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't use a monster pump for your tent. You could use the bigger pumps for a mat, but we'll cover off even more on what you just said when we get to those. Now, I wanted to cover off on the compact options as well, which are, so I've got a little Xped widget here, which is a little power bank and light. So it's got buttons on the side here, so you can actually turn it into a, didn't work.
Is it going to be flat now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
don't forget their double tap so they don't accidentally come on.
So it's a light and a fan button. You've got inflate and deflate options here. You can hang it up as a lantern. This is designed for Xped's pumps, so it will fit like the Xped valves like this, and also Cedar Summit valves, which are similar to this. So I'm showing the mini pump here. On the mats, this has got a little valve that goes over the top, but the size
like
of the inlet is about the same, and it's got a little one-way valve inside. FlexTail, I've got some awesome pumps. This little guy here is the latest one, which is the Max Pump 3.
Which is pretty darn impressive.
I haven't actually had a look at it, but you did.
Yeah, I did the video on
it.
500 litres per minute, plus it's a lantern, plus I think it's 5 kPa. It's a massive little, it's huge for the size.
Yeah, 5 kPa it says. So that's not a PSI. I don't know what that translates to in PSI. I used to know that.
I don't know that.
Really compact is their zero pump here. This is like a little jet engine. Once again, this has got inflate and deflate. It's just one end or the other, isn't it?
5 kPa is 0.7 PSI.
Okay. So we're still talking air mat.
So you're looking at something that is essentially that size for a Zempire monster pump, right? Which is huge. That is like the size of a boiled egg.
Yep. And I don't know what the flow, what's the
500
air? 500
litres.
litres per minute. So this is quite comparable to the monster pump here. The downside you've got is you won't be able to attach that to the valves you need for the type of beds that this is designed for. This is really designed, and I'm showing the FlexTail pumps here, are really designed for lightweight hiking type scenarios.
They work well with, sorry to interrupt you, Benji, they work well with Xped and Cedar Summit, and they work well to inflate those more universal valves that you find on Zempire, Black Wolf, what are some of the other brands we sell?
There's a heap of others that we don't sell, like Nemo and
Big Agnes, Nemo, Climate. They work with Climate. I'm pretty sure they work with Nemo and Big Agnes, but it's like there's a range of compatibility there. They're designed to be able to, the fittings that you get with them, I think you get 7 or 8 attachments to them.
There's 6 here, but then you can reverse some of them as well.
Yeah, so they're designed to actually work with a range of different mats, and they are designed to be super compact and pack in your backpack. So whether or not you're doing car camping or hiking, they will cover majority of the mat choices you've got. The only thing that they do run into trouble with is deflate on that larger universal flip valve that we'll talk about a bit later.
Yep. No, can you use these on bigger mats? You can.
Yeah.
You're probably going to have to hold it in there. It's going to take a while because they just don't have the volume of the bigger pumps. But they do both have, both XPED and FlexTail have in their range a kind of intermediate size. So there's the max pump, I think it's called, from XPED, which is a bit bigger that it's a little bit big for hiking, not quite full size for camping. Are you talking
about the green one, or are you talking about the red one?
Oh, there's the green one as well, another red one.
The green one you could do hiking. The red one is definitely car camping for mega mats. I've got that one. It's called the Mega Pump.
Mega Pump, okay. Yeah. So that's a bigger volume one, sort of in line with the Monster Pump, I suppose. FlexTail have got some pumps called there's the Max Pump 3. Actually, the Max Pump 3, I think, is the newest one and covers off some of those larger volumes. But they've got a few that are probably not quite the same high price point.
I have, on some of the recent videos we've done, I have got mats up with all the different kind of common valves that are there and testing them out on each of the valves.
Okay.
So if there is a particular pump you're looking at, do actually click on the product review link and look at it, because you'll likely find a mat that has the same valve as your mat.
Okay, good one. So they have sort of larger ones as well. But what you get out of these is you're probably paying a slightly higher price because you're paying a bit more for technology. So you're getting something more compact that does similar things to, say, the Monster Pump here, which is probably a lesser price but a bit bulkier. So it depends what your camp setup is like. What else are you going to say about these? Oh, versatility of charging via USB. So very little power. You can charge them quite quickly off your portable battery or your car, even while the car's stationary, because you're not pulling that much power to run it. And best for small mats, so hike mats and thinner mats.
The other thing that I have noticed about some of them is, because I don't, I'd love to get one of the new FlexTail pumps, but I'm sure you're in the same situation as me, where I was like, I've got a Mega Pump, I've got another pump, I can't remember what it is at home off the top of my head, and then I've got a little tiny FlexTail pump. So I've got 3 pumps. I don't really need another pump. But it's like, I want to get that pump. I've got it's like a little black FlexTail. I think it's one of the very base models. And I got that because doing hiking with 3 kids and yes, you can do the pump sack, and it's just like, nah, stuff it. If we're doing super long days, I've just got 30 seconds, I've got 4 hiking mats pumped up, right? That I have used on the XPED Mega Mat before, and the Cedar Summit Comfort Deluxe, which is the, big 10 centimeter doubles camping. Worked really slow, probably only did 1.5 mats. So whereas if I'm using it purely on my hiking mats, I'll charge it once, in 6 months I'm still using it. So that's the other thing to consider, is like, just because it doesn't mean that it should, because you're not going to get the best performance. And then don't forget also that lithium batteries have a certain amount of life cycles. So you might only have 2,000 life cycles in that little battery. You're going to halve the life, or a quarter the life of it, using it on a mat that it's not really designed to be used for.
Yeah. Probably should also mention too that the valves, we haven't talked about the Thermarest style valves, which is that little external one that sticks out with the screw.
Oh, like the little wing one?
Yeah. So these are the only pumps really that come with an adapter that will kind of fit over that. It fits over the top of it. The
FlexTail one that I have, the adapter is like a silicon flange. Because I have a Neotherm Thermarest mat. And you have to put it over the top. Put it over, unscrew it, and then put the flange over the top carefully, so you're not accidentally pushing it back in.
There's a wider one and a thin one as well, so you'll need these. The monster pumps, quick pumps from Common, are not designed to use with those mats. Now, you could use them, you just kind of got to hold it against the valve, but we'll touch a bit more on that shortly.
There's always a way around it, really, isn't there?
Now, moving on to deluxe pumps, which is on your right-hand side over here. We've got the Dometic Gale Force, or just Gale.
Dometic is Gale pump.
12-volt pump. Now, that runs off of 12 volts. It's got multiple adapters. So, Zempire also have one called the Supercell, and I've not had a good play with the Supercell. It's been around for a while, but I've heard good things about it. Now, these are designed to have so that you can preset the PSI, plug it in, walk away, and it does the job for you, primarily for tents. So where a tent has got one valve, you can peg your tent out, you can plug this into the valve, you can walk away, have a drink, have a nap if you want. This pumps the tent up,
Yeah.
and then cuts out when it reaches the PSI.
Yeah, I think I don't know about the technical side of the pump. I probably should have before this, but I'm pretty sure these have got like an air compressor inside them, like a little air compressor unit inside them, like the Supercell and this.
There must be something to go to 7 PSI, but I'm not sure actually.
They're not just a little fan in there. They've got like a little compressing unit in there. And so I know the Dometic Gale pump was brought out the Gale pump was brought out by Dometic when they started doing their inflatable caravan awnings and things, and then they got the Santorini tents.
Yep.
That's when this really took place in the market when they got those out. But they do have the pump fittings for things like pool toys.
Yep.
And the difference between this and the Supercell is that the Gale has, like you mentioned before, it's got a little digital screen where you press the buttons and you set it. The Supercell is just very basic. They're both noisy, but the Supercell is very basic. It's very powerful and it just has a dial.
Oh, yep.
So both of them you still set to your PSI.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that you got to be careful if you go and pump your tent up to 7 PSI and then go and do your mat and don't adjust it. Now, I'm not sure how low you can actually adjust those to.
Yeah, I was just going to have a look at that.
If you take that out of the box, you'll never get it back in.
I know. It's just more so if
I was going to take it out before and thought that's never going to go back in. But yeah, you need to actually adjust that back down to suit your mats if that's what you're going to use, or don't walk away from it.
Yeah.
Watch it. So these guys, we're talking 6 to 8 times more expensive than some of the basic 12-volt options like the Austral one that I'm showing you here on top of the Monster pump. But it's the versatility that you get out of it. You've also got a bigger pump that you need to transport as well. So you need the space to sort of fit that in your car. If you look at the space of that Gale pump on the right there versus
Much
this
bigger.
one here is probably 10 times bigger. So yeah, you do want to justify the expense and also the storage space if you're going down that path. Now, we'll talk a bit on valves because that's probably the most interesting bit or most commonly asked questions, but I just briefly to sort of summarize what for what. So are you looking up that Gale Force?
Yeah,
pump
keep
there?
talking. I'm just looking at the manual to see if I can get the info, just mostly because I'm curious.
So what pumps for what? Simple pumps, so no battery, hand operated. If you're occasional camper, you're not pumping up heaps and heaps of air beds, then just keep it simple. Grab a hand operated pump. If you want a really lightweight, maybe you're a compact car camper or a hiker, just go with the Airstream pump sack or have a look for one of these dual action pumps like we've got from Zempire here. We might speak to our purchasing manager to see if we can get one back in our range again because they're quite affordable. If you camp a little more regularly, maybe set up, pack down, happens each night while you're traveling, you're doing it over and over again, then probably a 12 to 40 volt or 12 or 240 if you're in a campsite with power or you've got a good 12 volt system set up. Rechargeable if you are, you can charge it from your car and you can you can walk around the campsite and pump things up. You can just take it to your tent. Sometimes you've got to park your car a little way away from your tent. That's where rechargeable is handy, unless you've got a portable power pack.
Yeah.
Stick with compact if you are a compact car camper or a hiker. You can use it for the bigger mats if you like, but just be wary of the limitations we mentioned before, that it's going to take longer and it's not going to run necessarily long enough to pump that much air into a large mat. And if budget's no limitation, storage is no limitation, and you just want the easiest camp setup of all, have a look at the Dometic Gale or the
Zempire
Supercell. You're going to be spending a lot more, but it makes setup really easy. Just keep an eye on when it's pumping your mats or anything that requires less than that higher end PSI, because you'll turn them into beach balls.
Interestingly enough, I have just done a quick little look-see here on the Supercell. So the Supercell I mentioned before, it has a dial setting, right? That dial setting can be set anywhere between 0 to 20 PSI. And it also has between the 0 and the 1 a huge variance there. So it looks like you do have the ability to fine tune the dial between 0 and 1 without actually having tried it myself in real life at the lower setting.
That's got a dial on it as well to show you what PSI it's at.
Also got a gauge, like a real-time pressure gauge on it, as well as that dial for the setting. Now, the reason why this could be it's also almost double the price of the Dometic Gale. So it could potentially be because you've got that finer functionality on settings with it, and it goes to 20 PSI. The Dometic Gale only goes to 12.5 PSI. So if you're someone who, just based on that information, looking at that Zempire Supercell, if you're someone who camps with an air tent or an air gazebo / shelter, you take us up because you go coastal camping, you have a Quest couch and you have self-inflating mats, or a self-inflating, what do you call it? Not self-inflating, like an air pulse swag or something.
Mm-hmm.
Supercell would literally do everything that you need.
Yep.
But it does require 12-volt power source. It's not rechargeable.
And it's over $200.
And it's over $200. But if you and it's big, a bit bigger and heavier, but if you literally want something that will do everything and you don't already, it's probably also worth mentioning if you don't already have an air compressor that you use for full driving. Like some people might have one of those little Bush Ranger Black Max or whatever, those little ones. That might be a good pump option for you.
Yep.
The Gale doesn't give me a minimum, but yeah, that maximum of 12.5, it's not going to be enough for a sup.
I've got a feeling it was a while since I used the Gale. I can't remember what the increments are when you go up, whether it's preset amounts or you go up individually. And I'm pretty sure all the readouts on a digital thing on the Gale, but the Supercell is certainly a one pump does it all scenario. Just be vigilant on turning that dial back after you've pumped up your sup or your air temp before you go and pump up your inflatable couch or your airbed.
It might also be worth mentioning that those pumps, like those more high-end air compressor style pumps, they don't deflate because a vacuum motor is different to an air compressor motor.
Yeah, good point.
Whereas all of these little fan-based ones that have a simple in-out, they do.
So I guess the premise in talking this through now is there's not one that does everything perfectly.
Yeah, there's not one pump that does all products you could want to inflate when you go camping, plus a deflate function.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I want to move on now to valve types. Now, one thing I want to premise this by saying is you don't have to have the little nozzle sealed in the valve for it to work, particularly on the mats that have a one-way valve.
Correct.
Now, by one-way valve, and we'll show this one here as an example. Now, this is a cut off an Xped mat. Obviously, I don't know.
Oh, no, that one's that one's, sorry, I walked away from the microphone for a minute there. That one's a Zempire Monster mat.
Yeah, Zempire Monster mat, sorry.
And that's the same valve that you'll get on like Darchi Cozzy mats. I'm pretty sure on the Supreme snoozers, the Darchi Supreme snoozers, Black Wolf, Hextherm, etc. It's very common universal mat. Yeah.
It's got a little spinny thing in here, and in here you can see a little yellow bit inside. That's a one-way valve. So the moment that's set to air to come out, flip it around, and that's now set for air to come in. Now, if I don't have this adapter, which comes with the Zempire Monster pump and also the Austral pump here, which is designed for this valve because this screws in here and then the pump attaches to this and you can leave that there to pump it up.
Yeah.
If I have, say, a Coleman quick pump, not as ideal, but I can still just push this in here and get a seal as best I can. I'll probably take the black section off.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah.
That's
still going to be forcing air in.
Yeah, and air's not going to escape.
I know for a fact, because I've pumped up our display model mattresses with one of those bad boys, it works.
Yeah, I do it all the time.
Just because there's no fitting that's perfect, it works. Still works.
Well, this is the one.
Same for deflate.
This is the one that's literally always sitting next to our mats down in the shop. So whenever we want to pump something up, this is always plugged in there. So we're just going.
And if you're wondering about longevity, that 240 volt Coleman quick charge pump has been plugged in next to our display mattresses for 7 years plus.
Kicked around the floor.
Dropped. I've personally dropped it, and it's still going strong.
Yeah. Now another example, and I'm just going to use this Xped as an example here. This is the pump. So there's nothing inside this. There's just a foam, and there's a donut of foam in there. If I wanted to pump that up, there is this valve here that comes with the Austrail pump, for example, and I'm just using random things here to show you don't have to have the right thing. This does fit in here. It actually fits. You could push it and it will sit in there comfortably. Oh, it's sort of doesn't stay in there quite this firmly, but I could use this adapter here if I wanted, and just push it in and just hold it in to pump it up.
Like you can make it work.
But there's no one-way valve on this. So what you would then need to do is like, once you've pumped it up, have the pump running and then quickly take the pump out and quickly put the plug in to stop the air coming out. Most mats now
do have the valves though.
The Xped mats have the valve, some cheaper things don't have a valve. It's just a one-way in, one-way out.
It's probably also worth mentioning that sometimes, like with going back to this rechargeable one on Deflate and also with some of the FlexTower ones, none of the attachments work on a Deflate. So you just push the whole friggin' pump up against the mat valve and it works fine.
Well, they do. These fit in here.
Yeah, but I mean like if you're like, for example, on this universal one, if you just go like this.
Oh, yeah.
And just push the Deflate.
Just hold it in there,
Yeah, or the inlet. Yeah, just hold it against the mat. It will still work.
It's going to do something, Yep. I do want to touch on when we talk about those cheaper valves that I talked about now. I'm just going to bring in an example here. This is a common quick bed, and this has got a really common Boston valve on it. This has got an extra bit. You can see inside there's a yellow section in there. The cheaper mats will just have this outer bit and the valve on top. Now, these are the ones I'm talking about where you might need to pump it up. This fits in here. Pump it up. You probably need to hold it in there, pump it up, and then once it's tight enough, you kind of need to do a quick undo that and put that in there quickly and seal it up. Coleman's quick bed have got one extra step in that when the pump is attached, you just push this in and they've actually got a little seal inside here that seals the step before you close this.
Yeah.
So you'll get, I guess what we're trying to say is there's a lot of different valves out there. The cheaper ones won't have that. These are slightly better quality. You pay a little bit more for them. You've got that extra step there. That is really helpful because air escapes really quickly out of this without that option inside. So you've
that's
got
true.
a very small amount of time between pumping it up and getting the cap on before it's too flat again. That makes it really easy because you literally pump it up when it's tight enough. You just push the pump in, seals it, and then put the cap on. That's a Boston valve, really commonly used, and it fits. Where's my Coleman adapter here? So the Coleman one here fits on there. That doesn't even fit tightly. They've got a little ring around here. Doesn't actually fit tightly. So you've got to stand there and watch it while you're pumping it anyway. It'll just fall out if you let it go. This is Austrails. That comes with a fitting that will fit in there as well. If it didn't have that yellow thing inside, I could use that one if I wanted. Put it in there and pump it up. You don't have to have the right valve for the right fitting.
I do have to say that majority of this episode, I've been distracted by pump up the jam, pump it up in my head the whole time because we just keep saying pump, pump, pump.
That's what it's all about. Something's gone wrong if we've had an episode about pumps and haven't. Maybe we'll get Larry. Sorry, my mind's just gone off.
I was thinking we need to have Pump Up the Jam as our theme song, but we can't because of commercial rights or whatever the heck it is.
Okay, all right. Well,
we'll wait and see. If you heard it at the beginning of this episode, you know that Ben and I have won in our quest for relevance.
Go back and put your radio on with that song and then listen to this again.
Yeah.
Now this is we're going to go back to this valve.
I think we've already talked about this one.
We have. This is the most common valve that's talked about now. Most pumps, the common quick pump doesn't come with something that will fit automatically in that. So if you do want something that fits, I don't think you can buy this adapter separately.
No, you can't.
You can't. It comes with the Austrail pump.
And even if you did, it might not fit on the pump you've got. But like at the end of the day, I think we've demonstrated pretty clearly that you can get pretty much any pump to work.
You can.
You just got to be mindful. Like most pumps, you can't just attach to your mat and walk away. And that's not a bad thing. It's really not a bad thing. Yeah. And part of me wonders whether it's a conscious design consideration that brands have made to not allow you to leave a pump unattended.
Maybe. It would burn out if it ran for too long.
Yeah, or you blow your mattress up.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wow, warranty. Nope. So I think it's a fail-safe, really.
That would be the most common valve we see in most mats now, right? Most camping style mats coming out. So I think you'll see this come out more often to fit that, but don't go and buy a new pump if you've already got one and you buy a mat with this valve because you can still use it. You just won't fit in.
Totally. The other thing that I think it's probably worth mentioning before we wrap the episode up is I have, and I've talked about them all the time, my two main mats that I've got are X-Ped mat and a Cedar Summit Comfort Deluxe mat. They're doubles, like they're just the main camping mats that we got. Because my current situation with my little vehicle, which we've talked about in previous episodes about what vehicle that you want camping and to whatever, because I don't know what I'm going to do moving forward yet. But because I have such a small vehicle, I use a pump to deflate those mats hard as I can because I need them to pack as tight and as small as I can to get them home, right?
Yep.
And to get everything in my car. The downside of that is that when I get home, I don't inflate them again. I just unpack, chuck them in the shed. So what I've noticed is over the last 6+ months of doing camping and using that style is that the mats don't really, and also admittedly given age, both of them are more than 6 years old, they don't inflate themselves quickly anymore. You know, when I first got them, it was maybe 1 to 2 hours. I'd come in and then maybe add a bit more extra air if I wanted to, or maybe not if I wanted a soft sleep. But pretty much exclusively now, I use the pump to inflate them and deflate them every time. So I think it's probably worth noting that if you'll never get a self-inflating mat that inflates to firm on its own. You always need to put a little bit more air in it to tailor it to your personal preference with how comfortable you sleep. But if you're going to regularly be using pumps to deflate your mat and have them be such a hard, tight deflation, you will affect the health of your foam cells long term.
Yep. If you stored them deflated, it'd probably come back. But the foam's just got that memory.
Yeah, totally. If I stored them deflated and I had the room to do that, that's what I would do, but I don't. And so I store them. And potentially even if when I got home, I just flicked the valves and let them draw in a bit of air and stored them, you know, rolled up, but with a bit more air in them, it probably wouldn't be as bad, but I just don't. And that's just how it is. And so I use a pump now.
I was going to add to that. This comes up often in my life at the moment, particularly with getting to a phase where I'm pulling out some stuff I haven't used for years.
Yeah.
Because I've got a bit of extra time. I did an overnight hike with one of my colleagues, Jake, here recently, and I pulled out, he did the same thing, pulled out a hiking gear. He went, oh, that's deteriorated. This is deteriorated. I've got a Whisper Light stove that I've not serviced for years, and I'm thinking,
did it work?
Well, I didn't want to play around with liquid fuel with it.
Unless you tested it out,
So we pulled our gear together and managed to you know, we had
work
enough.
it out.
But I pulled out my old Thermarest mat. Now, this is an old orange 3.8 Thermarest from
I know exactly the mat you're talking about.
Ago. Yep. And I store it deflated in the top of my cupboard all the time, and it's in perfect condition. I've used it a lot. I've never even got a hole in this mat.
Yeah.
But then I think there's some cool mats on the market now, but I've only just got enough storage room for this one. I can't really justify buying another one, but I'd quite like to. But this one's in really good condition. So in some ways I'm thinking it's not such a bad thing to treat your gear a little bit rough because eventually you want to update it.
You wish it was shitty and it didn't work because then you could be like, I have to get a new one.
So get out there and use your gear. Don't stress about the longevity of it because 10 years down the track, you're going to go, I really want some of that new stuff. And you'll be looking for a reason to buy it. So I know I'm a bit in that phase going, that's a bit worn out. Or maybe I should buy another. Better buy another one. But my mat's in perfect condition. My tent starting to get a bit sticky, that whole hydrolysis thing. And I'm going, might be time for a new tent. That's an expensive purchase, but it's justified because the old one's not waterproof anymore. But the mat's like, I should start storing this poorly so I can justify a new one. But anyway, that's off topic.
I know what you mean. I mean, it's not like we trash our gear on purpose, but it is good to be a dopamine, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's good fun. Anyway.
Why do you think we work here?
I said to my videographer, because he wants a quick episode to edit, and I thought I would do pumps. That won't take long. And that's 15 minutes talking about pumps. So
thanks for sticking with us. We thought it was going to be boring, but it was all right.
Well, we'll let the audience let us know if it's boring or not. But yeah, thanks for watching. Any questions, let us know in the Facebook group or in the comments on this video on YouTube, and we will see if we can get back to you ASAP. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Catch you later.